Welcome to Creekside Chats with Successful Real Estate Investors, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, promoting prosperity and harmony to help you flourish in all areas of life. Join in as we explore the motivations and goals of real estate investors and how their ability to invest abundantly has provided them with the time and freedom to contribute to the world in a creative and thoughtful way. Now please welcome your host, Dr. Allen.
Hello, enlightened investors. Dr. Allen here with Ira Singer, who inspires us today with the wisdom of 25 years of relationship building and construction production experience. Welcome, Ira.
Thank you, Alan. I really appreciate the introduction and the opportunity to be a guest on your show. My name is Ira Singer. I'm one of the founders at Mosaic Construction. We are a general contractor in the Chicago market with offices in Northbrook in the downtown area of Chicago and up in Milwaukee. We have a experience of 30 years doing a variety of different work, not only in the multifamily sector as a remodeling contractor, preferably in the design build way of delivery. So we are a construction partner at the table with our clients, helping them through product selection and the fluency of pre-construction and selection into, of course, design drawings and ultimately into construction. We also perform as a commercial contractor doing office and other types of commercial assets. Our roots are in the residential industry, and so we also have a brand called Design Construction Concepts, which is a design build residential firm that exists to help with residential and boutique commercial design build projects that are in the Chicagoland area. And our third brand is called Cannabis Facility Construction, which was born out of our entree into the cannabis dispensary design build world 5 years ago when Illinois became a medicinal approved state. That brand has now completed over 30 projects in 9 states across the country, from dispensary build-outs to cultivation centers, as well as processing facilities. And so we are very flexible and adaptable when it comes to the renovation process, understanding the management and the production that goes into completion of successful renovation projects. You have a multifamily audience. That is where I have spent the majority of my career, working as a renovator in both senior, student, market rate, and affordable and workforce housing, doing everything from exterior to interior renovations. So thank you for the opportunity to provide some context around our professional affiliations and what's next on our topic to discuss.
Well, fill us in just a little bit here. You can work all over the nation, right? And you have done projects in a number of states, correct?
That's correct. So we were originally about a 2.5 to 3 hour radius of our Chicago land office, which put us in Wisconsin and Indiana and Michigan. Through our cannabis work, we have worked in 9 other states beyond. That has brought us to the East Coast and the western part of the country. So we are not limited by the work that we do, not only in cannabis, but in multifamily or commercial renovation work. Not every project in the multifamily would be a good match for us to come and travel far. You know, a paint job on the exterior would not be a reason to hire us as a general contractor. When you're talking about multiple trades and producing a project that has quite a bit of management, that is where we are best suited. We are experts in remodeling of existing, be it interior units, common areas, amenity spaces, exterior specifically, whether it's masonry or siding or windows, doors, roofs. We are very adept at all of that type of work.
So you could be most beneficial to multi-family investors who are doing a full-scale renovation, probably both interior and exterior. So it would be really taking over probably a C-class building and really going through the whole thing. to understand that correctly? I mean, out of state anyway, and out of your
Yes,
area.
the value add opportunities that exist in multifamily, regardless of asset class, are where we have the ability to consult on ROI for the owners as they are considering what improvements make sense. If it is a full-blown reno of the existing asset, there's a lot of product choices. So coming in at the early stages as a design build partner, when you're talking about that type of full-scale remodeling, you're going to need a design partner to come in and draw and provide submission for permits to the local municipalities. So we are working in design build nationally, and we would be able to provide not only the relationship to the architect, more importantly, holding the budget that the owner is looking to spend around what material choices and what is urgent on the property for failed systems, areas where there are real value add opportunities based on a wholesale investment. Not so much spot repairs, a roof is leaking, a window is failing, but more looking at the building holistically and what the investment strategy is for holding it as a long-term, short-term, in and out, which is not as easy to do in multifamily to flip it necessarily, but a 3 to 5 year short-term and maybe a 7 to 10 year mid-term strategy. And how does that make sense to spend money to get the maximum return on investment for the owner?
So you could be very valuable, really, in the early stages of the due diligence process.
We are.
Yeah.
We are often brought in for pre-construction, as they are considering the asset, when they have, an offering, memorandum offering, and they are considering, as they're doing their financial side and what they may consider going into the building. My eyes and my experience in looking at the asset, both inside and out, will allow for me to question whether these items are on the table for failure or for improvement to make over and really value add the asset. And it depends on class. So not all products exist across all asset classes. And that's where an experienced contractor partner is valuable, having in the front of the process versus it gets designed, then it gets bid, then it gets decided, and you're over budget because there's been no one in the front end helping to guide the costing out, where just the designer recognizes new roofs, move those walls. There's always connective tissue in construction. And so as decent sized renovations are occurring, there's always collateral impact to the adjacent spaces that may not be thought of from a cost impact. And so that's where we can bring some intelligence and thought process around how that is going to get done.
Yes, from my own experiences, I know how invaluable that skill set and that knowledge really is to any investor. And there's so much that the experienced person knows that the novice or the part-time person. I've done my own renovations, and I'm nowhere near an expert at it, but I always know there are surprises that an expert would probably have known about if I had only taken the effort to consult them, and saved myself lots of frustration as well as money. So
hidden conditions are part of renovation to an existing asset. And
right.
Yes, experience matters in the form of eyes on a project, and at least asking the question or presenting the what ifs as the plan is developing for the renovation. And yet still, there are things within the walls that we cannot see. A change order is really part of our typical long-term project, either in a scope increase or in a hidden condition discovery. And the hallmark of excellent construction is really timely and effective communication. We are producer directors of construction. We work as managers. Every trade that we work with is an independent trade partner, from the simplest of site protection and cleanup on the backside of a project to every trade in between. And so we are very good at managing the trade construction partner schedule and getting the right people in the right seats. We shop our local trades when we're doing projects against 2 or 3 in the same trade category. So we are effectively competitively bidding the project within our trade pool. And that allows for us to have lots of eyes on the project before construction, to have their bids come in for us to review them, to ask questions that they may pose, to go through a formal RFI, request for information process that allows the owner and the designer, if we're brought in as a third-party contractor, to have us question things that are on the plans that don't necessarily translate to what's in the field, and vet that ahead of the swing of the first hammer. So we are getting some of the underlying things that are not so, it's more nuanced in construction, or a little bit of a forensic eye because of our experience factor, where we can ask questions up front that cost very little money versus work through the project, find things out, and then it has a cost impact.
Right. Well, an invaluable service there. Well, let's find out a little bit about you as a person. So let's go back to perhaps maybe your childhood, if you can think of a major formative experience that has actually led you to where you are today. And childhood could be really anything from 1 to 60 years old. So whatever you consider a major formative experience there.
Well, as I think about that, there have been, I was very fortunate to be raised in a stable, loving home here in the Chicago suburbs. My mom and dad, and I have 3 sisters. And at an early age, it was quite a bit of family time, from, Sunday dinners with grandparents, to involvement in our local synagogue, to volunteering at various nonprofits, as my family was involved in, I would say, community building. And, through those experiences, having a solid foothold in a good education system and being taught the importance of an early education. Those are things that are, seminal events in my life that provided a pathway to ultimately school, and the interest in learning and becoming, a lifelong learner. There was some adversity, certainly, within my young years, some hallmark events that I remember that taught me some bigger life lessons. And then as an adult, same thing. My mom, she passed away when I was, so it's 9 years ago. I'm 54, when I was 45 years old. And really, in the 6 years that she was living with her cancer diagnosis, I say to people, I learned more about the lessons that she was teaching as a 45-year-old in terms of perseverance and positive attitude and faith in those instances where she could have thrown in the towel, more than I learned as a kindergartner from her, in terms of, clean your room, brush your teeth, some of the formative early lessons that I was taught as a child do not stack up to some of the bigger life lessons that I learned when I was an older adult and could have a little bit more, a more intelligent thought around what she was showing us.
Yeah. Well, can you talk to us a little bit about some of those personal lessons that you learned from your mother during those times?
Well, it's so easy when things are hard and when the diagnosis and the future is bleak to resign. Mm-hmm. And it takes an incredible amount of inner strength to wake up in the morning, find your equilibrium, create a positive message to go out and take in what you're grateful for, to have a gratitude attitude, to have an I can attitude, and keep moving forward, until really the very end, where it was just the disease had taken its toll. She was doing things that that really surprised me. We were there at the beginning for the diagnosis with a a 2-year, maybe 3-year life from a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And she got 6.5 years out of that. And I think a lot of that came from how she showed up, how she chose to take in the bad news. And I won't say flip it, because it was always there, that, cancer wasn't going away. Just taught me a lot about the setup of what your mind can do to help you move forward. There's a tangential story on that in terms of, my greatest achievements / what I've learned in terms of doing the hard and stepping into the challenge around, work or personal. So a few years ago, I lost 122 pounds. I was a big guy for all of my life, from 18 when I got out of high school until 51 years old. I was a food sneaker, a food hider, a food abuser, and had a very laissez-faire attitude about my health. And there were some messages around friends that were dying at a young age, some avoidance of things that kept tripping up in front of me, like, hey, you should pay attention to this. And somehow I got a message, from some friends that were doing some stuff and posting about their successes, and decided to step into it with the attitude of, been there, done that. I had gained and lost weight for most of my adult life, and stepped into the hard work of focus and attention and intention around something that has been a lifelong challenge for me. And through the process of 8 months of exercise daily and food regimen from the grocery store, just cooking and eating healthy food, not a gimmick of pills and shakes and bars and stuff, just literally proteins and veggies and fruit and water, and the elimination of a lot of bad habits. Certainly, you can't be a big guy without, having a fast food life and, a candy and unhealthy food choice life. But I got rid of that and eliminated a lot of bad things to involve a lot of strong behaviors, stepped into the difficulty, hired a coach, felt that was a really key piece to have accountability, and worked through it. And so I'm 3 years plus from the start of when I did it. I'm holding it at a number that I got to. I've transformed my life. And so, lessons about having a strength, an inner message, a daily affirmation around I'm good enough, I'm worthy, I can do it. I have found that through this process, I have become the best version of myself in terms of when new things are in front of me, saying yes, having a yes and philosophy around new things and challenges. My business has also experienced a transformational growth with my 2 business partners and our team as leaders and as opportunistic, stepping into challenging new types of renovations that we otherwise maybe would not have seen as opportunities. And that all comes with belief in self, sense of self. And that's a lot of what I learned as my mother, taught me through the later stages of her life.
Well, fascinating to hear that story of really major transformation. It's interesting that it started with food, it sounds like, was a big thing, and really the concern about health and longevity, but it seems like it has transformed into multiple spheres of your life. You've mentioned the positive impact on your business, and you insinuated that that was not just your business, but it probably has affected your other 2 partners as well. Talk to us a little bit about those interpersonal relationships that have probably grown because you took the first steps of growing yourself.
As I recall back to, my early years, the my strengths have always been in relationships and relationship building. I'm fortunate to have grown in a family where communication and love were present. And I have relationships from preschool that exist today in my adult life that I am, lucky enough to have been through elementary to high school to college and beyond with a group of people. Fortunate to have met my wife when I was 18 years old, having just graduated high school, and the 36 years that we've spent together and the 30 years that we've been married and the 3 children that we have are all about signature successes in great relationships, recognizing the opportunity to learn from people, recognizing that I don't know everything and asking for help, which is a sign of strength and is challenging when I'm in a place of unknown or feeling less than, to be able to let people know that I don't know the answer, be transparent about that, have the strength to come forward and ask for the things that will help me learn and or get through. And so a lot of that is how I got into business with one of my current partners. I owned a company for the first part of my career that was an exterior residential firm doing windows and siding and roofing that graduated into more multifamily work on the exterior. And the relationship was not a strong one with my former business partner. And through some work in my synagogue, hiring a rabbi on an important committee, I met one of my business partners who was also the chair of the committee. And as a result, let him know about my unhappiness in my former business and the broken relationship that I felt I had with my partner. And out of that conversation, we got into business together, completely unexpected. And, having him currently in my life as my partner, as my friend, as, a key strategist, that all happened because of my ability to build relationships and communicate effectively. And those are some of the most important things. As a matter of fact, in our conference room and in a couple other places in our business, we have the Mosaic actions, which are how we as a team in my company go to market, exist as a team within the office setting. And one of the 6 actions that help us bring it all together as a company is build relationships. And that's with our clients, that's with our team, that's with our trade partners. It's so important. And, good relationship, good communication building is a sign of success. And we've done really well as a result of that.
Well, I'd like to explore that just a little bit more here before we go into really some of what I'm interested in are some of the relationship building techniques that you intentionally employ. But before we go into that, tell our viewers and listeners how it is that they can connect with you.
So you can reach me directly via email at Ira, I-R-A, at mosaicconstruction.net. That is MOSAIC, and the word construction, all one word, .net. That's one way. You can obviously find me on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you professionally. And if we do, and a conversation is needed, I'll certainly give out, my phone number for contact. But email and LinkedIn is probably the best way to find me. Again, Mosaic Construction. We're in Northbrook, Illinois.
Okay, very good. So talk to us a little bit about some of the specific techniques that you, in your company setting, use to develop relationships.
So we are blessed to have a significant amount of referral business. The way that has grown intentionally is around philanthropy. So between myself and my other 2 business partners, we serve on a variety of different nonprofit boards within the Chicagoland and in some cases national landscape. And those provide us with opportunity to do our best work, to show up as a strategist, to show up as a builder, to support the mission of that nonprofit. And when you show up with intention to help, and build the message within that nonprofit, what happens is people see you for your altruistic self, and you're bringing money and your ideas and your time and your network to the organization, and the organization benefits from that. And so in 2008, when the recession hit and businesses were really affected, and construction specifically was horribly affected, we decided to remove all of our outbound marketing, and we went into a very intentional philanthropic lens to spend money on how we continued to build relationships. And as a result, we were seen as do-gooders, and that helped tremendously, not only for personal satisfaction for the organizations that were important to us, but it created a whole different lens of relationships. And that still exists today, 12 years later. That's one way that we build relationships. Another is by saying yes. Saying yes is hard. Yes means you're expanding your world. There's going to be more work that comes out of that. But when you say yes, when I say yes to opportunities that come in front of me, it lets people know that I am interested in developing a relationship. No is oftentimes the right word when projects come in front of us that are not a good match for what we do, or in relationships that someone is trying to leverage where we see that there's not necessarily a good initial feeling of it. For the most part, my life and those of my partners exists in a yes and attitude, and that continues to be a hallmark of our success. And then one of the key lessons that we've learned is transparency. And I do think that that is more of a buzzword in today's business setting, that transparency is needed. That exists at all levels of our company, from how we show our team, the monies that we're making, the intentions around our strategy and our growth, to our clients and how we show them the cost of the trades that we are using and where our fees exist as a separate line item. And so when you communicate in a transparent way, it's a trust builder, and trust builds relationships. And those are some of the key things that we have done to excel in relationship building.
Very good. So that's philanthropy, yes, and genuine transparency, not just a buzzword, but the real thing.
That's right.
Well, Ira, thank you for sharing with us the aspects of your business, and also thank you for sharing with us the person that you are and that you have become today. It has been a real pleasure having you on the show, and I certainly hope that we can continue these conversations in the future and get to know you even better. So thank you so much for being on our show today.
Alan, thank you again for the invitation and for the conversation, transparent and on point. I appreciate that, and I hope that your listeners benefit from some of the words that took place in our conversation, and look forward to having any further conversations with any listener that would like to reach out to me.
Hey, enlightened investors, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Today, you've been holding time with Ira Singer and Dr. Allen. Ira works with apartment community owners throughout the Midwest USA to ensure they successfully add value to their communities to bring home attractive ROI for their investors. To keep the spirit going, head on over to steedtalker.com and access my free ebook, Passive Real Estate Investing, Time Freedom to Live Your Life Abundantly.
Thank you for joining us on Creekside Chats with Successful Real Estate Investors, brought to you by Steed Talker Capital. For more information, as well as access to our free ebook on enhancing your well-being through real estate investing, be sure to connect with us at steedtalker.com. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steed Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine and enhance the humane treatment of horses worldwide. Steed Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. Connect with us at steedtalker.com.